Bear with me. Thank you, Malin. Okay, great. That's working. Cool. All right, so I'm just going to do a quick presentation to take about 5-10 minutes, and then we'll go into live readings. So, okay, so my name is Costa. I'm a Gene Keys guide and ambassador. So I've been with this work for about 8 years now. I had an epiphany back 8 years ago when I received this wisdom, this teaching, whilst sleeping in bed, and then I woke up to an inner voice saying to me to drop. And through the process, I had this energies coming out of me, binary codes, 0 and 1s. And I realized in the morning when I woke up, feeling completely safe and secure in my in the 4 walls of my bedroom, I was in a state that I did not want to be disturbed or interrupted by anybody else, a state of non-interference, and I was in a sort of blissful state of calm and peace and tenderness, like I've been cushioned by multiple cushions around me, and I was in this beautiful space of softness, and this carried over to me for a couple of weeks. I was going through a breakup at the time, and that sort of drew me into the Gene Keys to see how I can attract and shift the patterns of those I had been with in my intimate relationships. And that took me on a deeper journey and many more other experiences that led to me doing the online course, the Golden Path, and pretty much doing nearly all the courses, in fact, for the past 8 years. And then they had the ambassador program, so I did that, embodied the teachings, and then became a guide. So the reason I'm here right now is just to offer this to you guys, to know that you can also do it yourself. You can become a guide. And it's just to show that whatever experiences I have had, you can also receive the same in a different way, as it's a part of self-illumination. So it's kind of obvious. From what we see around us, we can see that the world is not attuning to its highest frequency, but it can do. But we see things are breaking down. It's usually breaking down. We're not looking after the planet. There's a lot of propaganda out in the world. And so the Gene Keys are coming at this time to help propel us forward, to live out our highest potentials through living our genius and going within our suffering. This is the work that we're here to do. So it's for this very reason that it's come appropriately. And so just a little bit on DNA. I'm no scientist, but the work with the Gene Keys and through fringe scientists have shown us that our DNA is not what we thought it was. Junk DNA is not junk DNA. They do act as wormholes and portals into different dimensions and different frequencies that we can operate if we know how to speak to them. And this is what the Gene Keys offers through its the codon wheel of life, and its association with the I Ching, which I'll explain a little bit later, and to show how we can uplift ourselves generally through our attitude. And so there's a lot of potential that have not been seen, and it's here to bring us to this light and to this place and to this purpose where there are dark spaces, there are blind spaces, and we're here to project that light onto that and to make it of what we can through our expression. So from my understanding, one DNA can hold about 35,000 different expressions. And so there's multiple different expressions that we can uncover by looking into our DNA. And so the less known properties, I'm not going to go too much into this, but we can see DNA as a poetic science. Like I mentioned, it's also seen as a wormhole. It's an open system, just like the Gene Keys. So it opens up to the infinite. I even dare say to other infinite portals beyond just the infinite. And then human DNA is forever changing. It's forever growing. It's forever mutating. It's forever evolving. So, like I mentioned, we got the DNA codon wheel that was discovered back in the 50s. We have the I Ching, wheel, book of changes, seen now as an oracle, and through research has been done to show that when you map them out together, they align perfectly in sync, meaning that if you uncover the codes of the archetypes in the I Ching, you can uncover the codes in your DNA. And by doing so, you can open yourself up to your zenith, to your highest potential. So that's quite an awakening, in fact, an awakening process that we can use and materialize and manifest. So the I Ching and the gene keys, they operate using this beautiful codes of 64, and the gene keys can be seen as universal themes of consciousness that are here to open you up and to expand and to align yourself to a higher, deeper state of quality of consciousness. And so this number 64, we see it in an array of different, ways and forms in our universe, from architecture to geometries to the vacuum state of where the universe came from. It came from number 64. And we also see it in, for example, in chess, in Braille. It's also in nature. So this number 64 is not seen as information, it's seen as a living wisdom. And so just by looking at the numbers, and what we'll see here is the spectrum of consciousness, looking also at words, they are there to offer you a new way of being, instead of, which would also include doing, and is broken up into 3 layers. So we have the shadow frequencies. These are our challenges, our fear patterns that the universal codes operate within the human being. We have then the gift level, which is like the bridge between the shadow and your highest potential. And so you still have fear, but you're driven to go into the fear more and live a life lightly, in fact, and to be more human, to be more compassionate, and to operate from the heart space. And then you have your acidic state, which is the divine quintessence, your highest divine gifts as it is inside of you. And this is when you've fully evolved as a human being on this plane. And essentially, you're just a vehicle for other divine entities just to come in within you. So we have all these 64, and within us, we have certain ones that are attributed to our profile. So consciousness creates your reality. So every word, thought, spoken word, and feeling is an alignment to offer you scope for a new reality. And this can be changed through your attitude. Your attitude is what changes your DNA, what changes your thought patterns, your words, and your actions. So, pardon me. So we have this profile defined at birth. It'll uncover 11 spheres. There are more, in fact. I think there's about, right here, there's about, I think, 13, 14. And they're also associated by positions of the planets. So there's an astrological data that involves with this process, but they're all here to provide you with specific imprints of themes that you are here to shift and change by patterns that are holding you back. And this is what we're going to cover today in our live Gene Keys reading. So these are broken up into 4 sequences. You have the activation, genius, Venus, love, pearl, prosperity, and this hasn't come out yet, the star pearl, which is about harmony, and they coexist together and include one another in the profile system. So your activation, this is about discovering a genius. It involves 4 main pillars, which should not be taken lightly, for they hold for you the protection when you're about to go more inwards. So this is more about the physical, which will be opening up to your life's work, evolution, radiance, and purpose. And yeah, they're there to keep you, there to remind you of how you can remain stable when the going gets tough. And so we always keep coming back to this in our physical body. In the next layer, we have the astral side. This is about opening your heart in your relationships, specifically yourself. And there are 6 main spheres here. I won't go through them, but we may come across this in our reading. And this is pretty much the crux of the work about returning non-love with love. And the last one is a pearl sequence. It's about opening up to your heart mind, bringing in clarity and prosperity through sometimes less is more, and this serves as a triangle to your highest truth. And oh yes, so this is the last part. So just to keep it very short, art of contemplation, this is about what you can use in your everyday life. This is the practical aspect. So we have pausing, enjoy frequent pauses throughout the day, making sure it comes through feminine response by approaching everything with softness, turning angles into curves, and just looking everything through soft eyes. And by doing so, you offer a forgiving stance to what comes, especially during challenging situations. And the way we do this is through allowing, accepting, embracing our challenges and our shadows. So it's one thing to do this on the personal level. It's quite another to do this on the collective. And this is what we're here to do. It's also the reason why I'm partly doing this as well, is to offer you scope that it's of vital importance at this stage in our human story, that we come to work and find our allies, our friends, and to build something together. To bring back heaven down to earth. And this is the purpose of what I see with the Gene Keys. And it's to live out your purpose, not just individually, but also collectively, and following through with these high truths that are seen as values for the Gene Keys, which is syntropy, being generous, synthesis, which is the whole work about how things assimilate together with different systems and teachings, and through synarchy, the collective vision that we all hold and serve, of being of greater service to the whole. And finally, we have the art of contemplation that relates to the mind of pausing, emotions through pivoting towards our shadows predominantly, and then merging, which is related to the physical body, and bring us back into union as one. So excuse me if I'm going a little bit quickly. I just want to get to the juicy part, which is the live reading. So I'll just stop sharing and we'll go into the calls. So Malin, since that's how I'm saying your name appropriately, pronouncing it right, I'll start with you first. So let me just get your profile up. And if you want to unmute or go in the chat, do you want to just, have you got any questions for me? Have you got a particular challenge that you're facing? Have you, is there anything that you want to share at this stage regarding your profile, or what you would like to know more of? Yeah, if you, Malin, yeah, okay, you want to go on chat? Okay, great. I'd love to know more about my 54. I have it 5 times in my human design. Okay, so let's just have a look. So 54, so the 54 and in your life's work, this is the place where we normally start with our work with the Gene Keys, and this is the place of doing. In a nutshell, to aspire and to ascend is to expand whatever you are doing, but also something that involves evolution. So most people, like you see in the world, generally with business, we see this with big business, they've been able to accumulate a lot through wealth and through the means, and because it's not evolving, it's crushing people and crushing its environment down through destruction. And so as a line 1, this is a layer that adds to the story of your keys. So for those who are new here, there are 64 keys and there are different layers behind everything. So your shadow here is of greed. So if you're, as a creator, you're here to aspire and to open yourself up to something new and to build on something new that's going to evolve itself as a platform for others to use based on your foundation. So you're here to be a master of whatever it is you're here to do. And, so take any role, in the work here, it uses the plumber. So you become like a master plumber, for example, or it could be an architect or a singer or a dancer. But whatever you're doing, you are perfecting that in a way that's going to help serve other people. And when, and you can also, by means of looking at other keys, especially in your, so this is called the activation work, where you see the colors of green in your spheres. In your evolution, it partners up together. They're called programming partners. And so you can use the adjectives of the shadows and the words that you see here. So if you're being immature, you're going to be greedy. You're going to be wanting something for the personal benefit that doesn't serve the whole. But when you allow yourself to aspire for something greater, then it's going to obviously expand your state of consciousness and also help the others serve others to what they can provide, or what you can provide as a springboard for others to help and to be of service. And so in your evolution, this comes through as your trigger, the first trigger that you see in your profile. And for you, it's to, if I remember correctly, you're here to make sure you give, to avoid thinking too much of concepts and philosophizing, but just to give out of that. And if ever you're feeling too anxious, generally a line one can be quite anxious at times, the best thing you can do is just to close your eyes and just to remind yourself of all the people who love you, your friends, your family, your close relatives, and all those people, they stand on with you on the foundation that you're here to build and create together. So you can always come to this space through a pause and to know that's what's going to help give you an uplift and to be empowered. Because generally nobody's going to be able to demotivate you or motivate you, Malin. It comes through yourself. So whenever you're feeling a state of anxious or something where you're feeling agitated, just take a moment to go into your heart and fill that space. And that will then remind you that you have always support with you. Because in line one, we like to be alone. Line ones, they love to be alone. And sometimes too much so. So it's very important to give out and to go out and to go to the external. Don't say too much on the inside, because you'll be tend to intellectualize a lot. Yeah, Malin, does that make sense? Does that resonate with you so far?
Do you hear me if I speak on the chat? I'm not sure.
Yeah. I prefer voice because it's easier for me just to not check the chat.
Sure. So yeah, that makes sense. So like I have obviously massive material aspirations, and are you saying that I should try to focus, on a bigger scale outside of myself? Could that can that include my family and the people closest to me, or is it supposed to be something massive for humanity? Or I'm not sure.
I thank you for the question. I mean, I'm with this work with the Gene Keys. It is a part of self-illumination, so only you can really answer that question. But as long as what you're doing, no matter how big or small, as long as it's serving the whole in a way that's beyond yourself, then it's important. Okay, so the idea is use your intuition and seeing, is it going to help someone else? Because generally with this attribute of a line one, we stay too close to oneself. And so if you can go out of that comfort zone and go towards someone else, help someone else expand. Maybe help expand in their own, in the same service or business or life's work that you're doing. And by doing it, that's also how you're helping yourself. Like I mentioned that in the PowerPoint, you're bridging the gap, so you're helping with the collective, and that will take you away from a short circuit of your pattern that's holding you back. And so the key here is just to really bring in this drip feed, because you live in the body. Okay, a creator is somebody who starts from the flesh and you go out. So it's here for you to be bold. Okay, Malin, so be bold with the work, challenge the status quo. Go out against what maybe others may be saying no. Say, no, I'm going to be a master where it is, but I'm going to do something that's going to help of service to the others. And when I do so, it's going to come back to you. You just don't know how, you don't know when. And I just want to refer back to the flip side of the other side of the profile, which is your purpose. Your purpose as a line 3 and 51 is a warrior key. And a warrior key, meaning that you are here to go to the path less traveled. And the path less traveled means you got to go through into the darkness sometimes. And you got to take the courage, and that will provide you the initiation. Because when you are awakened to the highest realms, the highest frequencies, this can't be faked. It's not something that, oh, I have some sort of awakening experience. It's not an experience. It's a permanent shift. And the only way you can do so is by getting out of your agitation, go into the movement, and take the path less traveled through initiation. Life is initiation. So whatever you see that comes forth into you, use that as fuel to help turn into something beautiful. Turn whatever you're going to do that's going to help inspire other people, and it's going to help ascend, to evolve to the beyond. So you want to include what you do and then transcend that. That's the key.
Right. Yeah, that's great. That really resonates. And with the warrior energy, like, not only do I have the 38 twice there in my IQ and EQ, but then, also about doing something for other people. I have the 44 twice. It's,
Yes.
My pearl and my core wound, I believe.
That's right.
So I definitely struggle, or have struggled a lot, with connecting with others, and huge fear of intimacy. I have the 6 as well, and that's what I'm kind of dealing with now.
So, Malin, I could just tell you a bit with that. So I mean, it's I feel being drawn to go into your shadows, actually.
Sure.
But it's just from
I've done the Venus and the activation with the ambassador, by the way, but it was a very bad experience for me with that particular person I work with, unfortunately. So I kind of got scared off the path.
Okay. Well, that's okay. The good thing with this work is it's about you giving time to pause. And by giving the pause, it means you can go out in nature, you can take refuge in your heart, and then find the confirmations that you feel appropriate to, or find the friends or teachers that you feel drawn to.
Yeah.
I personally like the people who frighten me, because I'm like, oh, good. It means I can go to you you're a teacher. You're here to teach me something, which is a good thing. But nevertheless, I just want to mention here the SQ. So you will want, from what I feel, is you'll have the spirit as a fighter and in a warrior, that you'll want the freedom all the time. But the freedom also means it will come through in your relationships. But the relationship is not there to trap you. It's there to offer you the scope to open up your heart more. And if you're finding it's going in the opposite direction, where there's conflict, then you can use it as a means to be tactful. And it's a question of timing, of who and when to be honest with, and how you approach that. So the Gene Keys is always about being gentle with oneself and to be patient. And the more you can do that with yourself, because you'll probably want to go out more a lot. You'll like to go out in your heart. It's like, it's a wildness at play. But when it's with someone else, if you're with intimately, you'll just need to find the dance with that. Because when you get to your vocation, which is also your core wound, the shadow collectively that you share with others on the human level is shame. And so shame, it means you'll always want to escape. And maybe the escape means you'll want to interfere in their escape to go somewhere else. But if you can allow yourself to sit with that, then you're going to find the strategies that can help other people overcome their challenges. And so you can do that. And that's how you can create the teamwork together, the teams that can help everyone feel empowered and no one feels let down. And by doing so, you're walking towards a higher vision, because your vocation is about synarchy. It is the collective vision. And the collective vision always comes back to this one question: how can you, Malin, be of the greatest service to humanity? And you can keep asking that question over and over again. And if you do so in your culture, this is about working in units and keeping what is alive. And what is alive is what you preserve, and you let go of the weeds that do not serve you. And by doing so, that's what's going to help you drive you forward. And that's why it reminds you to be a warrior, because your purpose is the Russian doll effect that you'll see in the rest of your profile. So use that. And your pearl is also synarchy. Your pearl is also different. You're here to give unconditionally. Charity means you give.
Yeah,
So
this is
you keep on doing it.
Sorry,
No, please.
it's become very clear to me recently what my path is, and I'm actively trying to create that for myself, and it is something that is very, big and shareable cause. So I think I'm on the path. But yeah, there's a lot of shadows that I need to work on still.
Yeah, and there's also loads of gifts that you can also implement. So that's the beauty of this. I mean, I can go deeper, but
because for me, the 54, like I've always been super ambitious, and I've not been recognized for it at work and such. So I changed jobs a lot and changed roles, and I moved countries. I'm never in one place, and I feel like it's either my immaturity maybe, or I'm not sure why it is that I give so much of myself and then I don't get recognized for it, and I get disappointed, and then I move on. So it's kind of a cycle that I've had.
Okay, so I mean, it's not on your profile, but every key has a dilemma, and the 55th gene key dilemma is about external validation. So the idea is, can you allow yourself to give without needing attention back? And then by doing so, can you also stay in the room, because your purpose in your relationships is about, at the lower frequency, it's about escape. At the higher frequency, it's about using humor and lightness to carry you forward. So staying in the room, meaning when the going gets tough, maybe don't try and go through the back door and be slippery, because a lion people like to do that because it doesn't want to feel the pain. Or maybe it's the pain of your vocation. It's the same thing. It's just a different layer. And you have a few line 3s here, right? So actually predominantly you got line 3s. Now that I look at it, you got 2, 4, you got 4. And
the 51 I have in all lines except 5 and 2. So I have it many, many times in my human design profile also. So I think that's significant for me in some way.
Yes. And I just want to mention to you, I want to give you a bit of, there's a dare I want to give you. Yeah, so if you dare to be truthful, that's your dare. Dare to be truthful to you. So seek and you shall find. So find your truth.
Right.
What's your truth? What's the truth of gene keys as well? Like, what is it for you to aspire? What does it mean for you to ascend? What does it mean for you to be super abundant and to be expansive? Whenever you're in a situation, ask yourself, is it contracting or is it expanding?
Yeah.
And then stay with that. Don't leave that, stay with it, and then see what's underneath, because the gene keys work is all about knowing every shadow contains a gift. So if you're looking to be disappointed, what's beneath the disappointment? Is it the maturity that's allowing you to keep repeating the patterns? Or can you stay with it and realize, well, there's something here that this person's teaching me as an expanse to me to go for. And the only way is to go through it. To get to the other side, you got to get your feet wet, go from A to point B. But what I'm saying is you can take baby steps. Just be gentle with yourself, caress yourself with love, giving yourself, be with the loved ones if you're feeling vulnerable. Just do the exercise of just closing down your eyes and just feeling in the people who love you, and feeling that you love yourself at a deeper level. Because you're here to play. Look, your attraction with everyone else is about being sensual. You're here. Everything is a play, and it's not with any hidden agendas. That's the power that you hold. So be the guidance that you have in the background, and the background is to know that the frequencies are there to be changed. Like I said, DNA is forever changing. So know that whatever's coming to you doesn't stay, remain. It will be included and it'll be transformed. And that happens when you pause. So take the initiation, act from your truth, and you will find the treasures. And they are within you, Malin. So trust in that.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. I definitely do that. I go out in the external and I gather up experiences, and then I feel like I got to go back and retreat to my cave and be with myself. So I feel like I might be doing something right.
And also another thing, Malin, is so in your radiance, you got 57, and when it comes out, the discusses and the keys, like it becomes like a thunder, but it's the thunder of gentleness. So if you can see the shocks, as it were, as phases of gentleness, you can see it's not there to harm you. Nothing can hurt you really.
Yeah.
It's just there to offer you a different way of looking at it, you know. And for me, seeing that side of a story is better than trying to blame or react to everything, because it just keeps me in the victim pattern. But if I see it as guidance that's taking me towards a different trajectory, then I see it's leading me to a different light. And that light is saying, okay, let me be aligned with that. And I'd be aligned with that by just approaching it with softness. So yeah, I hope that helps you, Malin. And
yes, amazing. Thank you so much.
Pleasure. Thank you, Malin. Kimberly, who else? Kimberly. I only have your profile. Would you, or Robert and Joy, if you're joining, if you want to send through your profiles, feel free to attach them to the Zoom chat, or you can send them through to support.
I did. Did you see it?
Oh, sorry. Let me. No, it hasn't come through yet.
I'll resend it. I send it to you, but maybe to all, I guess, maybe.
Yeah, I haven't received it. Just it hasn't come through just yet. If you maybe want to resend it, hopefully it should come through. I mean, yeah, Joy, just send it again. And Kimberly, are you still here? I'll go to. Oh, thanks, Joy. I haven't know.
Hello.
Hey, Kimberly. Let me just download it. And Kimberly, have you got any questions?
Not specifically. I'm fairly new to Gene Keys, but I'm just working towards. I'm almost at the end of the awakening sequence. I feel like I'm at entering just sort of a new stage of life, and I'm working with this in an effort to try and figure things out, get to know myself a little better.
Okay, so is there any way you would like me to? Have you got any specifics that you would like to know about, or
not? I mean, I have uncertainty with respect to work and housing, shelter upcoming, but you know, if you see anything interesting in the spheres there, I'd be happy to hear what you see.
Yeah, sure. I mean, what I'm attracted to first is just your life's work. So you're here to serve as a teacher. So generally,
do you mind if I record?
Yes, you can record. Yeah, and so this will be on YouTube, by the way. It's live on YouTube.
Oh,
so I'll
okay.
Link, but you can record too. But yeah, no problem.
Thank you.
So yeah, as a teacher, generally this means in your later life. Actually, it could be around now. Actually, from your 50s onwards, you will gather your experiences to help others in need. So, for example, if I take the role of that plumber that is in the activation that is used as an example, then as a teacher, you're going to be providing the education and system for all plumbers to help evolve and aspire others so that you can become, provide a quality of service. Now, with your key here of Gene Key 40, we can see the shadow is exhaustion and it leads to divine will. So when we exhaust ourselves too much, generally this key is associated with like illness, in fact. And if you're not looking after your body, you can turn into cancers. I'm not saying this is pertaining to you. I'm just saying this is what happens when people really ignore or listen to the signs. And so the resolve is all about making sure that you you can say a firm no by being clean and clear with your boundaries in a healthy way. And by doing so, you can then make sure you give yourself time to recover and to relax. And relax is different, obviously, from resting. Resting is just giving yourself a space. Relaxing is you can feel on a cellular level that everything just drops, everything just lets go. And it's not something you can really teach, but it's something that you can implement by using that simple process of pausing. So the pause, for me personally, I find I'm currently in Greece at the moment. This country for me is a state of divine bliss. And I say that not lightly. I genuinely mean that, because wherever I go, I'm feeling the rays of the sun coming. I look around me, everyone's out in the streets, kids are playing at 10 to midnight. I'm like, I don't see that anywhere else where I've been to in the world. And everyone's just happy. I generally feel everyone's just happy in a local community. And I tend to relax in that environment. I just the aura around here just sweeps me off my feet in a space of gentle ease. And that's how I found myself in the space to find a resolution to when the going is tough. So the question is for you is, how can you find your resolve? And one way you can do so is also using your hands. So if, for anyone who has problems or challenges and shadows are arising, using your hands in creativity to ignite that passion or ignite that energy to transform it can help relieve what is holding you back. So, playing an instrument, doing some garden work, painting, drawing, playing an instrument, all these things can help remove that sort of either static energy or depleted energy or any energy that's in a lower frequency, because you are here to surrender at a deeper level and to not compromise. Okay, so you're here to not compromise, Kimberly, to your highest dreams. So know that you have a bigger dream that's still at play, and keep hold of that. Everything was happening right now is a part of it, and your evolution 37, it's a key of divine. It's the polar opposites that come together. And like, for example, I'm not sure if you're a mother or parent, but
Yes.
Then you would know that the divine, the most powerful love there is the love from a mother to a child.
Yes.
It's the most powerful thing there is. Now, can you also bring that to yourself again to say, what you give to your child, can you also give this out to the bigger and wider community? And that's what is divine will. It's like serving you're applying the golden thread that you have with your child to the golden thread with all of humanity. And that will help serve others, because you're somebody who likes to marry with one person or one situation, and you hold that very clearly to you. So your posture is all about change. You like the change, but my request for you is, can you go and adapt to the change where it feels unexpected, uncomfortable? And that's where it will require a deeper patience. A deeper patience where you can trust in what comes. Because this line 2, in fact, likes to go out a lot, really go out too much. And, previously with Malin, it was more like, it's the reverse type. So in this case, it's like, can you go in a little bit more deeper and feel into that deeper patience that's there, and tie it in with to your posture, or to the cellular fluids that link into your body, because for you, it's all about flow. So it's about finding your flow. And when you find your flow, then you can align yourself to the warmth that you give to other people, because I'm sure either people will find you very magnetic, or you attract people who are magnetic. And so it's this sort of romance, that play that comes through. But when it gets triggered in some way, it turns like a tap turning from hot to cold, and happens unconsciously. So the idea is just to gentle yourself, your soul, your spirit with this tenderness, coming back to this evolution, to give it what it needs in strides. And by doing so, then you can come back to help, planting the seed so it can then flower to others and for yourself. Okay, so in your Venus work, this is all about the emotional realm, and this can be quite a triggering place because it's going back into your childhood, wound patterns. So from your IQ, EQ, SQ, it's about going back from 21 to conception. And in your teenage years, you can ask yourself, well, what did I do mentally when I was triggered? Most teenagers will generally go into the room and escape and lock themselves up, and they'll hide. So maybe that's what you do, Kimberly, is you can also, you close yourself down mentally, or you create the story mentally. So you don't share it out, you just close down. And so the idea is give yourself the space and time to use that wondrous mind that you have for contemplative inquiry. And the contemplation will then run very deep, because the more you inquire, the more you're going to start to receive these insights that come through. And again, it's very funny. You have this balance of play. So 50 and 37. So 50 is also very much about making sure everyone feels empowered, you know, and I guess it's also the same thing with you. It's about bringing this empowerment through the polar opposites of what others are maybe not feeling or receiving. And can you bring it back into yourself, into this divine harmony? And the only way you can do this is by not going out too much, but giving yourself a restraint, so that you don't react out of anger, but you respond in truth. And then that truth is about making sure you give yourself the patience that's needed. And again, you've got the double whammy here, right? You've got patience and your purpose and your SQ. So SQ is your spiritual quotient. This is about how open your heart is, and it requires a deeper patience. And if you don't release that in a gentle and kind way, then it can become quite provocative. But the way that you can when you start to give in more to yourself and seeing the bigger picture, or feeling the bigger picture at large, because you'll always hold this visionary approach, a bit like being on top of the mansion. You know, if you're looking at a line one is like the blueprint, the line 6 is like the finished work piece, art piece, and you're looking from above. It's about coming down. And when you're coming down, then you're feeling liberated. But to be dynamic at play means that you can actually use your words that can actually maybe hurt other people's feelings, but you're not doing it you're doing it with knowing the fact that it's going to cut them through their lower frequencies so they can live out from their heart space. And so maybe the way of your being dynamic is by using those gifts that you have from equilibrium, from restraint, from magnetism and patience, so when you're speaking or people are feeling into your energy, they are also shifting their energy too, because it's being applied in that way. And that's can again be used as a strategy to help people and others find their own gifts in the world. So yours is one of a selfless nature, and the selfless nature, the quickest way one can do this is for everybody, is to be generous. And most people don't actually understand that, because to be generous means we don't know how and when it's going to return to us. And it's also by being more generous, it means you connect more with the other person as a community. So there are 3 ways you can do this. Being generous, so planting seeds, giving your time and space and your resources to help someone else without condition. Using the moment, every moment as a friend. So every moment, even you guys here, you're here as my friend. You're here I'm here to help you. I want to help you. So I just see as a friend. So can you offer that to others too? And then the third aspect is to be gentle. So the art of gentleness, being generous, and using the moment as your friend helps bridge and for everything to merge. And this is what happens when you contemplate at a deeper level. When you contemplate at a deeper level, this merge comes through as a quickening using those 3 tactics. And the more that you apply that, the more you're going to start to see synchronicities happen in your field. And when they do, they'll start to ripple out, they'll hit the shores of the bank, and they'll return tenfold. Okay, so if ever you're in doubt, Just use that and know that whenever you're giving from your heart space, it has to come back to you. Generosity is the most powerful force in the universe. It is the most powerful force in the universe. So do not underestimate it. No matter what we say, no matter what we do and act and think, they all have a consequence. And so the more that you can apply this work and with your awareness into your gifts and into your cities, it will speak to you and in your way as a truth. Okay, and then the recognition is the recognition that you give to other people. It's what you want for other people. You want others to be recognized for who they are. Okay, because again, you've got that 37. So making sure there's a balance, a balancing act for everybody. So yeah, and let me give, would you like a dare as well, Kimberly?
Well, sure, yes.
Let me give you a dare. I'm going to give you the dare for your purpose. It's the dare to break down bad habits. Now, the reason I say that, sorry, I've lost you here. The reason I say that is because the dares, there's a course called the Dare to be Divine. It's operating from the frequency of the cities. And the reason why timelessness, to get to timelessness, you have to break through this through action. Because in patience, it's easy to wallow thinking we're being patient by the activity of wu wei, of non-activity. But the paradox is it's through the activity, in fact, by being aware of the thoughts, the words, and the deeds, we shift into this mode of striving or evolving upwards, or involving in a sense. So either it means going out for a pause, or maybe it means just journaling down 1 or 2 points that you want to change in your life and doing the opposite, in fact. So let's say, for example, you have scarcity of money, then be generous with your money and maybe give every single day, provide some tithing, maybe give $1, $2 to a homeless person. But the key thing is you want to monitor that. And by monitoring that, it helps create a momentum. So you're moving away from entropy into momentum. And that's also what happens in the universe. Nothing goes in a straight line. Everything goes in arcs and curves. Eventually it becomes a ring again. And therefore you have a cycle. So the idea is you want to start these small driplets, and they will come back to you, because you are here, Kimberly, to change the way people think. And it is a trickling effect. So can you apply that also to your life, in your instance, in your purpose, by putting the trickling into your habits as a drip feed? Every day, apply a splash of gold onto your journal or onto your life, even if it's only for a moment. 1 moment is enough to know that you're creating a change in your life. You're creating a change for the universe to receive back to you. And then you enter into the timeless dimension. And this timeless dimension is, Dr. Joe Dispenza would say, where there is no mind, nowhere, no thing, no matter, no body. And that's where you are heading. And you head through this by going with the flow, with the posture, and by going within. So that's your home play.
I love that, Costa. Thank you. And I am working on it, but just trying to figure out what the balance is between pausing and working. Just not pushing it, letting it happen, but at the same time working on it.
Baby steps, Kimberly. Baby steps. So I'm just saying, so what you can do, so this is coming from a teaching called the Diamond Cutter. There's a Diamond Cutter Sutra. It's a Tibetan Buddhist teaching. But just for everyone, actually, it's such a beautiful way of doing it. But essentially, you have a journal, and in the journal, you're going to write a little positive of the thing that you want to change. Let's say it is generosity. things that you have, you want to be abundant, for example. So you're going to write down one thing that you did today that was generous, and you write down the time, the date, where and what happened. You want to be specific and make it short and simple. So, for example, yesterday, I was driving from Evia back to Athens, and on the road, I saw that there was a disabled person that needed help. And so I stopped the car, I took him into the car, and I drove him to his appointment to see a doctor. And I would recall saying at 2:22, I opened up the door, I helped the man into the car, and I drove him to where he needed to go with no fuss, no resistance, nothing. I felt good about that anyway. I just felt great about it. I'm helping someone else, and they needed the help anyway. So you write that down, and then you write underneath that a little negative and saying what you didn't do too well in that same point, perhaps. And then you're going to write like a little to-do of what you can do to make it up. And it's not to make you feel down, it's to make you be aware of what's happening. So you can operate that on 3 levels. You can operate that at the thought level, you can operate that at the speaking level through your speech, or at the action level from something that you do. But I would say go with any of those 3 can work, but go with the to-do. And what you do at night is that you look back at what you did in the day, and you'll see all these golden nuggets that you've done. And then you just think about it, meditate it for about 2 to 5 minutes before you sleep, and then let that percolate into your dreams. And then when you wake up, again, you do 1 or 2 things. You can do maybe 3 things if you want. So apply that, and give it a few months. It's a slow burn, but that's what patience is. Patience is not a quick fix. But I guarantee you will see huge changes. If you apply that, I guarantee you things will change to you in a miraculous way. So
That's wonderful. Thank you. I'm so glad that I found this event today. Thanks so much.
Pleasure, Kimberly. Joy.
Did you get mine? I
Yeah,
had to correct mine.
Thank you. I see in the profile.
Did you see it on the chat or the email?
Yeah, I see on the chat, and
Okay.
sorry, let me just share. And where are you?
Question about the recording. So it's gonna be on Facebook, you said?
It'll be on YouTube, so everyone
YouTube.
can. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Just go to Costa.global. Unfortunately, I can't email you guys. Anyway, I've been trying our new system. It's not to what I would expect. But if you go to Costa.global, it will. You'll see the replay. Okay, for everyone viewing. Okay, so is it Jen or Joy?
It's, you can call me just Joy. And this one is, the time is wrong. So I did the new one. The only thing difference is in the attraction, it's number 1 instead of 2.
Okay. Okay, great. Have you got any questions? Have you got anything specific or is there anything that you see on this profile of yours that you are drawn to, whether it's a number, a word, a key, or a sequence?
I am fairly new too, so I previously what you said to Kimberly, like I have to break the bad habit. It is for me too. I'm having really hard time these days because of some certain things happen in my life. Like I was strong. I had a stronger will, but these days it's been really weakened. So how to persist and be more resistant, vigilant?
Well, I would actually say, Joy, the opposite.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, to be resilient is great, but for you, it's to go with the motto that I see in your life's work, for example, is easy is right. So whatever is easy is the right thing.
Okay.
Now that there's definitely something, there's definitely 3 words to contemplate, because they mean there's a deeper layer behind this. Sometimes the easy way is the hard way, in fact. But and again, it's hard because this, so vanity in this context, it means you're identified with form, thought form, word form, action, any form, any shape that you see. And most human beings are stuck in this trap. Most people are vain, in fact. And in this work, when we become awakened, this key, in fact, is the last key that we come to. It's the last trial for the human endeavor to reach, because we need to let go of our ego. And so discrimination is any work, anything, or anything that you feel is appropriate that applies and embodies and is aligned to authenticity. So no matter how messy it is, you will discriminate to what is not real to you. And so with your work, whatever you're here to apply, it's just to go the easy route, because you're not here to understand things. You're just here to move with them. So you are a change maker, Joy. You're here to help people through change. You're here to help people when they're adapt. You're here to assist in them. You love doing that. That's what you're here to do in your life's work. It's also very interesting to know that in your culture, you're also an entrepreneur, in fact. So you're an entrepreneur that will maybe form a team, but you're also here to adapt other people to shift and move, to flow, to glide, to breathe. So it's to follow that rhythm, and you don't need to think about it, you just do it. Now, the trigger that you have in your evolution to break your circuit pattern is to unplug from the external, because you may go out too much. You know, maybe when you're saying about willpower and being resilient and resolve, is because you want to go out. But I'm saying, can you let that go and work on your own relationship with yourself? So this is again turning withinwards, and the way you can do this is through breath work. Okay, breath work on yourself, but also feeling into the environment on the collective, because you'll want both. You'll want to feel the resonance of where you're at. And again, it's about, finding your inner peace, finding your inner calm, and in doing so. And that's what breath takes you. It takes you to peace. I don't know if you've done looked into any other spiritual teachings, but there's a teaching called Advaita Vedanta, which pretty much says that you are no body and you are no mind, you're no thing.
Right.
And it's about turning within again. It's based on an Indian teaching, Advaita Vedanta, Hindu. And so this is their teaching. It's about finding that inner peace. And with you, it's about seeing everybody as your friend, or seeing yourself as a friend, and understanding the ebb and flow of life. When you breathe in and when you breathe out, when you contract and when you expand, it's all part of that same rhythm. And really going into that field of flow. So, and that's also what you do in your relationships, because to be diplomatic as well, and it's an art form. It's a very hard art form to have, but it's also like a dance. You got to listen and feel what other people are going through with their energies that are coming in and coming out. And a lot of the time you may want to isolate yourself, perhaps. You want to be, maybe sometimes to be alone. Generally a line 4 can want that too. They want their own space, but it's about, again, just coming back into that. And you're also in your radiance, this is about your environment, your health. The human response is, you may be in places where there's a lot of suffering, but you will have the power and the courage within you to step into the shoes of others who are suffering and to know what they need. And you'll have that divine energy, infinite energy that will take you there to help them. You won't need much, and for most people it may be insane, but you hold this power at the highest level. You hold this power, and so it's about making sure you can keep that frequency up by making sure you stay in rhythm with your breath. Yeah, so you need to listen to that. In your attraction, your attraction, this is also about sex and sexuality and primary relationships.
That's the part, actually, it's a line 1 instead of 2.
Oh, it's a line 1. Okay.
Yes.
I was going to say something else there. So, yeah, your line 1 is to make sure that the ground is fertile.
Right.
So again, about what you're saying with what I was mentioning with Kimberly, I mean, it can be applied to you, applied to everybody, about breaking your bad habits, because when you break your bad habits, you're then planting the seeds that will be fertile. And if you're planting seeds that are going to be on ground, let's say you want watermelons, but you're planting them on ground that's on concrete, it's not going to work. So you need to find and be in the space of environment that you can, that they'll be able to grow quicker. And that's what I meant about making sure, you know, you have that here, the friendship. To quicken the process for that to happen is to see everyone as your friend. And then you can anticipate what can come in your relationships. You've got leadership keys too here. So you've got the powerful, practical mind. Again, at the shadow level, you can be quite a manipulator, meaning if you get triggered, you're going to use other person's words and actions against them without wanting to go into your own thoughts of what's happening. And this can also be an unconscious level, or it can be also conscious. So just be wary of that, because that is it's a very hard thing for the other person for that to be managed. And so if you just be aware of that, then you can orientate yourself to give them the tools that they need to bring about unity. Okay, because the practical mind knows what it needs to help other people. And it also means you'll also know what it means to help other people in your life's work, to bridge that gap, that something is not false, that something is truth to you, you know, like whatever that may be. And yeah, it's funny, every single person today has the line 3 of strategy. So as such, for those who are Malin, Joy, Kimberly, I don't know if you're still here. Yeah, you are. I'm going to read to you all I want to read to you your strategy. One more thing before I do, Joy. If you're divided, you will use your opinion to make it look like it's fact, but it's not the case. And so you split it to serve what you think is appropriate. And so this can also be applied to strategy if it's operating at a lower frequency. But when you shift that awareness into the higher realms, farsightedness means that you use the parts to connect to the whole. And that's important, so that you become farsighted. You're also seeing beyond the limitations of opinion, because opinion can also be very subtle. We may not realize it's opinion, but it is opinion. So it's about moving away from that. Now, let me
Could you do what I should dare to do?
Oh, you want to dare? Sure, I'll give you
Yes.
a dare, and then I'll hold on, let me just, sorry, I've lost you here. What key do you want to dare on? There's a few I can go with.
I think diplomacy is a difficult thing for me.
Okay. So your dare is dare to be gentle. You're here to bring peace on earth and goodwill. So be gentle. Dare to be gentle.
And when you said take everyone as a friend, how do I do that with even the people who betrayed me?
So betrayal, to me, at some level, is just a story. I mean, they may have betrayed you, but it's still a story. And so it's about letting go of that memory to realize it's a memory that you just need to forgive and to start afresh and start anew. And I guess the short answer is to be gentle. You got to be gentle with yourself first before you can forgive others. There are many different ways you can do this. Number one is you can use a journal. Every single morning, write down the first thing, whatever comes to mind, and then just write it. Don't think about it. Let it go. Even if it's negative thoughts and thoughts of, whatever, but maybe not so wholesome, write it down, and then you can look back at it and say, is this really joy? Is this really my higher truth? If things hurt you, you can also write down two forms of statements: an accurate statement saying I was betrayed, or write it in the present tense, an accurate statement of how you're feeling, and write a beneficial statement of what you can do to uplift yourself. That alone will help shift your mood, will help shift your attitude. Because it's not about asking someone else to change. It's about making sure you change. That's the key thing. You're here to be a peace. You're a peacemaker. You're a peace giver. So look at your gifts. This is for everybody. Look at your gifts, look at your cities, and just contemplate on those words. Contemplate on their meanings. Because anything of a low frequency always leads to a divide. It always leads to a split. And we're here to come back to one again. For some reason, I feel that the radiance is important for you to go into as well, Joy. Look at these two keys, because if you're being in conflict, you're going to be in turbulence.
Yes. Right?
And so to find the diplomacy, you need to come back into humanity, to come into the human that feels, the human that intuits, and offer compassion. Can you return non-love with love, Joy? And this is for everybody. Can you return non-love with love? Can you be the agent of change that provides and gives of your heart wholeheartedly, knowing that you may get hurt? That's a true human. To me, that's a true human. Actually, a true human to me is the lines of what you see in the EQ. So you have self-esteem, you have courtesy, sympathy, kindness, respect, and reverence. So can we all live from those traits as a highly mature emotional being? Because if we're not, you're gonna react in aggression. You're gonna attack the person, and you're gonna seek for them to change. That's where the hunger comes in. But your joy is to be, your adventure is to give as many places in your life unconditionally with love, unconditionally. Because the more you do so, this is the quickest way for everyone to operate into their gift and city realms, is to give unconditionally to all areas of your life. You're going to short circuit everything. That's the adventure. That's the adventure of a human being. You're still living with fear, but you're still going to give yourself with your heart open, your heart on your sleeve. But do it in baby steps. So you can give to yourself, then you can give to your close family, your friends, your relatives, and then if you want, you can give out to the external wider community. And then you can give to those who you feel are your enemies, if there are enemies. Yeah, there's some deeper keys coming up now. Would you, since all of you four are on here, would you want me to read the line 3?
Yes, please.
I'll do so. Let me read your, let's start with the shadows, shall we? Just bear with me. So this is about shame. Okay, now remember, this is unconscious, it's not who you are. It's just a wound that you carry as a collective. And the keynote here is shame and humor. So, so once you come to this state, you look deeply into your nature, you'll feel that we have shame. And you may begin to think, how can we be so blind? How can we treat other people in the world in such a way? We hold the great reservoir of shame inside our DNA. We each contain all the fractal aspects of the sacred womb. Shame is born out of our self-loathing. We do not like to look inwardly and see how deeply wounded we are. So we try to run and escape our shame. But no matter how far we run, our shame will always come with us. Often people think of shame as a feeling they would rather avoid, which is understandable. But shame also makes us human. Although it may be uncomfortable, it is the beginning of the process of learning to accept what we are. As you have a third line wound, then you will use life as an excuse to deflect the pain you feel. Unlike the second line, which will engage the wound by projecting it, the third will always keep itself so busy, they will never allow themselves time to realize that what they really feel. Shame will make you believe at a deep level that you are unworthy, and thus you will spend most of your energy trying to prove to yourself and the world that you are worthy. Many third line people are quite obsessive in how they approach life. They may spend their days chasing their own tail or end up being a workaholic. All this makes the third line very difficult to relate with at a deeper level. The third line will never stay around long enough for you to know their vulnerable side. As you have a third line, you must slow down long enough to get in touch with your feeling of unworthiness. You don't need to understand those feelings. They are shared by almost every human being alive. You simply need to let someone you love see all of you, naked in your shame. Contemplate the gene key in the shadow of your core in the light of the above. And remember, the great gift of the third line is humor. This is not the surface humor that the third line may also use at times to cover their true feelings. This is the humor that wells up from a deep intimacy with your own being. Yours is the humor that comes from a wondrous mixture of self-love and integrated vulnerability. When you can laugh at yourself and your many faults and gifts with compassionate understanding, then you have begun the fulfilling journey of transforming the shame of humanity. Okay, so that's the core wound. So I'm looking at the chat. Now, your strategy. Oh, a reminder for everybody, the purpose of life is to thrive. So no matter where you're at, know that you're here to thrive. Okay, so no matter what comes or what is within you right here and now, it's for that purpose alone. So the line 3 strategy in your vocation, this comes through as your inner calling to go out into the world once you've overcome all the shadow work. Okay, so I mean, Pearl in some ways is like the after work of the hard work. Okay, so in business, the most potentially successful, all the lines is the third line. It can be addictive at the shadow level because the third line becomes a wealth obsessed workaholic. Okay. At the higher frequency, the third line will use its prodigious talent and energy to serve a higher purpose, and this can be deeply fulfilling for them. You are the people that are the original Robin Hoods. You have the ability to drive any project towards success through the ability to align with current and future trends, but you also have a natural tendency to want to help those in need, and so you can make a lot of money and making sure it helps empower and awaken others. Your gift is strategy, the innate ability to assess, plan, and implement a direction that is in alignment with universal forces. You also have the gift of learning through self-discovery, so they grow in wisdom and savvy as you mature. One of the sharpest gifts of the third line is to help people and projects to become more streamlined and efficient. This sometimes means that old modes of thinking have to be updated or simply thrown out. As you have a third line in your vocation, then you belong in the mainstream culture. You need to move among people, eating and drinking with them, so that you are always in tune with the pulse of the status quo. You are likely to thrive the most either in a group context or in an urban environment where life is concentrated. In a metaphor, you are the producer of the movie. It is your job to take on the responsibility of the whole project. The agent may put you in touch with the scriptwriter, but it is you who has to become the hub of the whole project and the community of people who are needed to bring it to the fruition. Your gift will always be to know all the levels and layers of the project, from the writer to the actors to the investors to the director. You are the meat and the pie, and although you may well have the most complex role and may work the hardest, facing many challenges, you will also be one of the most recognized and rewarded for your host of startling skills. Woohoo! So that's your strategy. So you may be the most hardworking, but you will thrive in the very end. So take heart and hearken, fellow warriors, for you have that strength within you. I just want to wrap this up quickly. So just thank you for staying on. So I'm not going to do some trials. Okay, these are fine. So just to let you guys know, if you haven't purchased already, you have the online courses that you can purchase. They work out to be about £350 to $500. But what I'm offering today, because you guys are here, readings that will be by donation. Normally I charge about $200 US, but just for now and for a short time, you can receive a deeper meaning, a deeper reading on your profiles, and to uncover your true gifts in more detail. So if you want to know more, you can just either go to Costa Global. You can also find me on socials, Facebook, Instagram, and all the others. And yeah, so this also will be on YouTube, Costa Global. Just out of curiosity, actually, guys, some of you said it was quite hard to get on here. Can I ask what happened? Because I just want to know what the feedback you can give me, and why it was if it was an issue.
For me, it was when I went to the Zoom. through the email, it told me that I need to click the link in the email, which I had done. So
Okay.
that way I couldn't log in. So I had to re-sign up, and it took a while to do all that.
Okay.
So the link that was supposed to be used didn't actually do what it said it would do for me for some reason.
Okay. Joy and Kimberly, was that okay for you guys to?
I used the link from the email, and I just had to re-register and then join.
Okay. All right. So they're just trying to re-register. Okay. No problem. Cool. Thank you, Kimberly. Look, everyone, I want to thank you for your time. So yeah, also please do spread the word, either for yourselves or for your friends and others. I will be leaving this donation for just a couple more days. Or if you guys want a reading or a package deal, there will also be something for you guys too. But yeah, feel free to look through on the YouTube as well. And yeah, and one more thing too is I'm also offering an activation sequence online 4-month retreat, and that will go through the 4 main pillars and in more detail. And there will also be customized readings in that process too, as part of that program. So I'll keep you guys in the loop for that. But that'll be coming in end of November until March. So yeah, anyway, thank you all. Blessings to you. Thanks for being here and for having the courage to come up on stage. So much love and keep in touch. Bye.
Thank you.